Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to I'm on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome.
Pardon the interruption.
Oh, my God. Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron. Episode
I'm Aaron Bauer.
32. I've already been interrupted, so what's the point of even trying to
Well, that's
talk
been a
over
good
you?
show.
So,
Okay.
hi.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Are you?
Huh?
You said hi. I said, are you?
No.
It's a line from a movie.
Sure.
Have you ever seen it? Called Half Baked.
You think that line originated strictly from Half Baked?
No,
You
but
don't
that's
think it
where
was-
I'm taking it from.
Gotcha. Okay. My dad was saying that for years, and I was very confused as like a 10-year-old boy.
Why? Because he was jealous? Like, I should be high.
Yeah, he was
dealing with this fucking kid.
He was high all the
Freaking kid.
time. Yeah, but he knew how to keep his marijuana use on the down low.
Yeah? How did
Yeah.
he do that?
He just never smoked it around us, or it never smelled like weed, or
Yeah, because I was going to say, I don't think there were like gummies or edibles or anything back then.
nope. He knew how to like open a window or do it outside, or unlike my current roommates. But that's a whole other discussion. The straight edge guy just getting upset that his clothes constantly smell like marijuana. That's no big deal, I guess. Because it's legal. That's what I hear. So since it's legal, I shouldn't care that my clothes smell like weed.
I remember my dad had quit smoking cigarettes. It was like 8 years he had quit smoking. And all of a sudden, my clothes were smelling like cigarette smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And I started like venting about it. I was like, hey, I was in school today, and somebody told me that my sweater, I was wearing a sweater to school, which is embarrassing enough, but my sweater smells like cigarette smoke. And I smelled it, and it really does. What's going on here? My dad was like, oh, yeah, don't worry about that. No.
What?
I'm like, I don't want people thinking I smoke cigarettes. So I kind of feel your pain, is what I'm saying.
Why were you embarrassed to wear a sweater?
Oh, you should have saw the sweater.
Yeah, I guess you should have been more specific, because it's like not like people are like, oh, fucking sweater. guy.
Yeah. I mean, in my head, I'm picturing it. I know you can't see it, but it was like a button-up. Maybe what do they call those? A cardigan?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had like my, probably like my Big Daddy Cool shirt on underneath it.
Okay. Well, you just took the cardigan off.
I know, right?
Anyways, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Uh,
Oh man, I don't know if it's so good to see you. You're a fucking wreck, dude.
Wow.
Can I tell people that?
Yeah.
You posted some stuff about it, right?
Well, I had a heck of a weekend.
So you came in here limping. Then you had my girlfriend change your bandages.
Yep.
And then I think she applied some ointment to your chin. And then you are licking your lips because I'm pretty sure they're bleeding right now
They're not
because
bleeding.
of a cut that you had.
They're not bleeding. So,
And something else real wrong with your face.
first of all,
It's ugly. That's
the
all.
subject we'll be talking about later today on the show is the horrific OVW incident from this past Thursday that everybody's been talking about, but we're going to weigh in on the situation, and we have some personal experiences that we want to share that relate to those, and talking to some people, I have some insider knowledge on how some of the inner workings of the OVW show kind of works behind the scenes, so I'm going to elaborate on that, and we could figure out whether or not, maybe something more could have been done while this incident was occurring. So we'll talk about that later in the show. But let's talk about my incident, I guess, from this past weekend. So I was in the Niagara Falls area for Empire State Wrestling. And
Viagra Falls?
Are you kidding me right now? You've never heard of Niagara Falls?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about. Oh,
Okay. And so I was scheduled to defend my ESW championship against Cheech, formerly of
Cheech and Chong. I remember I watched all those shows.
Cheech and Cloudy or Cheech and Colin Delaney, and he's tried to do the singles thing, I guess, and so I was going to give him a title shot. And before the match occurred, I got jumped by Spencer Slade of
Spence Slater.
I'm sorry, what?
Spence Slater, former Mega Wrestling Superstar.
No. So Slade jumped me from behind, and he took a chair to my ankle. He put an ankle lock on me. He hit me with a ring bell, which ended up giving me a slight laceration on my abdominal area. And then, after not breaking the ankle lock and me trying to fight him off, I'm laying on the outside of the ring, and he picked up my championship belt while standing in the ring and just violently threw it at my face while I'm laying on the ground. Lucky the doctor was right there, so he looks at me and goes, "Oh, wow, your chin is just ripped open and blood is pouring out of it." So I was like, "Oh, great." So, and I'm already hurt. My leg's hurting. Now my chin is messed up. My lip is sort of cut up. I get to the back. I'm pissed off. I posted an post-match interview about the incident. And now I know that I have to go to the emergency room. So that was cool. I've spent a few hours in the Niagara Falls ER. I got 8 stitches in my mouth. And ended up, the situation in my stomach wasn't too bad that I didn't have to get any stitches or anything, but it's definitely going to scar pretty bad from the bell. So, again, people with their weapons, I think when you see these weapons in wrestling matches, a lot of times these wrestlers get lucky, right? Me, not so much. I got hit with the edge of the ring bell. I got cracked with, a 15-pound belt in the face. Again, thrown at me. Might as well just imagine, Aaron, you're working out at the Planet Fitness, and Juicy Sarah's there, and you're looking around, and then all of a sudden just a guy comes up and over top of you, and he just decides to chuck the 10-pound plate into your face while you're lifting. You're probably going to get injured. 10 pounds isn't a lot to lift, but being
10 pounds of gold
and being thrown at your face, that's going to not be good. So, I have real life commitments, right? I've been working another job in real life. That's what I do. So I have insurance for, when I tear my arm or, my face gets ripped open. And so I had to be back in Ohio, Cleveland, 4 hours away at 6 a.m. to open at my job. So I ended up leaving the emergency room. I got back into the parking lot of my job at about 2:30 in the morning. Slept for a few hours. Opened. Closed at 1 o'clock. Early day. Then I had to drive 5 hours to Canada to do some commentary for Top Tier up in Hamilton, Ontario. And I think that just goes to show my commitment, my dedication, and, it's pretty hard to stop me when I'm committed to something. Maybe I should be committed that I'm turning 40 and I'm still doing this shit. This is going to be my 20th year in wrestling in July. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. You probably shouldn't ask me. You're probably going to have to timestamp it.
No, go ahead. Ask me.
I'm fucking pissed about the whole
why
thing, man.
Why are you so pissed?
I just hate all the fucking unprofessional wrestling I've seen over the past weekend. And then for you to send me video messages of your face busted wide fucking open because somebody, I can't say, you'll timestamp me.
I'm not going to timestamp you. I'm just saying, listen, this is
motherfuckers don't know how to work.
This is now a personal issue. And, I've had a talk with the promoter. We're gonna fix this situation going forward, and it is what it is. Slade wants to play games. We could play games, and so, we could have done this the easy way, brother. Now we got to do this the hard way. So that's just how it is. But I feel good. I'm stitched up. I'm battered. My face hurts. Luckily, my teeth didn't fall on my mouth, and now.
Knock some hair off your head, though, it looked like.
No, it's just how my hair is looking.
Oop, my bad.
So, but I feel okay, all things considered. I'm tired, but also, I think in Canada, it got me into a rambling where I remember that I'm becoming old man Greg, and we've talked about stuff like this probably on the show, but definitely off air. these young guys nowadays, there is a level of entitlement. And even in situations where I can get paid hotels and I don't necessarily ask for them all the time, right? Because I'm like, I already have a commitment in my job. I like to try to fit everything into a schedule, right? If there's an opportunity to make more money or to show that I'm reliable for someone, whether it be a wrestling promoter or a job or the podcast or whatever it is, unless I'm sick, deathly sick, I try to be there. And a lot of these kids, man, and I'm sure you've found yourself in some situations like this over the years, you got to want to sleep on the floor, on the random couch, in the back of your car with the thing reclined all the way back with a freaking neck pillow and a blanket as much as you want to be on that show. And it's crazy that, I don't know, like I wasn't raised to go through things like this. I think I had less than ideal circumstances in my real life, but pro wrestling is a dream that most people don't get to do. And when I wasn't getting hotels and the only options were random guy's house, waterbed with a dog in the room, back of my car, side of the road, rest stop, getting in some extra hours of sleep on a floor at my job when I was a security guard before I hit the road. I just feel like most of the young guys, they're not willing to do that as often. And they think they're required X amount of money because they've been doing this for so long, not considering that they're not actually a draw or they're not bringing any real benefit yet to the promoter. In fact, them being on the show and getting the chance, I'm not saying they don't deserve anything, right? But sometimes you got to eat shit, man, especially when you start in something like wrestling, because it's not an ideal living. As you can see, while I pay bills, I'm still working a job to make sure that I can be an adult. Your thoughts on that? Coming up in wrestling under less than circumstances.
Dude, the only people that ever got hotels when I was on that side of it was Sabu, Tracy, Tommy, Wildfire Rich.
They're all on TV.
Yeah. Like, I may have booked the basket case versus Jason Bain, but those dudes didn't get a hotel room. Not that they drove in from far, but still, nobody was getting a hotel room unless you had been on TV and you were part of the reason why we were drawing the crowd that we were.
Yeah. It's interesting that these guys now are like...
It's weird, man. I never... Like, even you getting a hotel room is weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, nowadays, I would probably do that. But back then, if you hadn't had a significant amount of time on television... Balls Mahoney, he got a room.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, the way we watch wrestling is a little different now. So, like, over the past few years, there's a lot of kids who... And I want to preface this, I guess. It's too late for a preface, I guess. But, there are young kids that still are hungry and want it and are doing great things. It's interesting because I don't think about it like this. And I came up with Vin Gerard, who runs IWTV. But a lot of these guys starting out, like when they see their name
What's
on
IWTV?
Independent Wrestling Television, the streaming service.
Okay.
And I know the streaming numbers, at least what they were a couple years ago, as far as how many people were subscribed. And it's pretty good for an independent wrestling television service. There's a lot of eyeballs on it. A lot of these kids look at it like, if they're on the show and they see the flyer and it's like, oh, IWTV logo on there, they're like, oh, shit, like a lot of people are going to see this. This is a good opportunity. And that's interesting because it's like, I still remember Vin from Chikara and like wrestling him in one of my first Chikara
Dude, the name
matches.
is so familiar. I must have known him.
I think he did some like AIW Chikara shows, so that's how you would know him back in the day. But and he just smart, always a very smart guy, and obviously he had a job outside of wrestling, and now he's turned that tech job into a business, and he can incorporate wrestling. I think that's very smart. You should find other ways to monetize wrestling other than the in-ring product if you can, and you have the talent to do so. But it's just one of those things where I think the product is viewed differently, and I do think on some level there are a lot of shitbag promoters, but there's also guys that understand the value of these guys busting their ass on the indie circuit, and also to some extent, these guys that are getting a few $100 and maybe getting a hotel that maybe didn't have any TV time, but like it's a different era that we live in. These are the guys that are going to be on TV one day, potentially. And now on the back end, you can monetize that. I mean, like think about every person now, just as a more current example, that is booked Danhausen. Mm-hmm. Every toy company who all of a sudden, as soon as Danhausen debuted on WWE, time to bust out the Danhausen toys that we were going to unveil because we got to strike while the iron's hot, right? So I don't know. It's sort of a different business model than when you began. I mean, you were one of the guys when we go back and talk about the infancy of independent wrestling in the 90s and sort of the death of the territories. You were one of the few guys that would invest money in shirts. Not everybody could do that because it was hard to find people to print shirts. But now, if you're not doing stuff like that, if you're not, you almost suck if you don't have anything beyond shirts and 8x10s at this point. You know, like
you should have your own mini store.
Yes, like you gotta fucking
like a kiosk.
You gotta have like a big cartel or something, or at least your own.
You have
website.
to be or you have to be like a mini dirt mall, a mini what do they call flea market?
Yeah. So the problem is with a lot of these kids, and this is free advice, and the guys who are trying to be better are going to listen to it, and there's going to be the other guys that think they should be just given things and like, well, I've been wrestling 5 years, so I deserve $75 or whatever the fuck. Like that's not how drawing money works. Or like you don't sell tickets. You don't just raise your price because, well, I've been wrestling this long now. It's not like a real fucking job. You don't just like, well, it's time for my yearly raise. No, bitch, do some fucking work. If you're smart and you're making no money when you start wrestling, you can make your own money by taking some money that you're getting from real work or real life and utilize that in wrestling. Invest in yourself. Look the part, okay? And that doesn't mean like be a bodybuilder or whatever the hell. Whatever your look and aesthetic is, try to fit that aesthetic as best as possible. And even if you're not a bodybuilder, again, there are those that will look at Kevin Owens and in real life, the person looking at Kevin Owens is a fat, lazy piece of shit. And they look at Kevin Owens and they go, well, Kevin Owens is fat and wears a fucking shirt. Yeah. Guess what? You are looking at it the wrong way. You're looking for an excuse to continue to be a fat piece of shit, not taking the time, or you don't have the IQ to look and see, gee, yes, Kevin isn't a bodybuilder. However, Kevin can out fucking run your ass. He can out cardio your ass. He could probably do a whole shit ton of high flying moves that you cannot do.
Do you see the video? I thought I sent it to you. It's Kevin Owens doing a 450.
Yes, back in the day. Yeah, he probably could still do one if he wanted
I'm sure
to. He just doesn't have to.
Right.
And Kevin, more importantly than anything in wrestling, which shows you there's a reason why Kevin's in the position he's in. It's not because of the moves. It's not because of how he looks for sure. It's because of his character and his promo. And like, if you have to spell that out to someone who's just content with looking at Kevin Owens and going, well, he's fat and wears a t-shirt, you don't get it, and you probably never fucking will. You could always look at shit with like, well, this guy looks like this and he's getting an opportunity, and use an excuse for you also to think, based on what you're seeing, judging a book by its cover, well, like maybe I'll just phone it in too. But that person's probably not phoning it in. You're probably just not thinking outside of the box, right? Like Danhausen, when he got successful, it's because he stopped caring. And instead of trying to be a generic CM Punk, which he did on the Indies, go back and look at old Donovan Danhausen, okay? It was ripping off something else. Until he became him, something that was authentic to him, it became authentic to others. And also, Donovan bust his ass to get that character over. Like, not everybody on the independent level. Danhausen is far from one of the best wrestlers. But marketing, I would put him in a class with, back in the day, Colt Cabana was one of the first guys to like break outside the box of just like t-shirts and all that shit. If you are an independent wrestler and you can get on the cover of a Batman comic book, that's fucking insane. Like, anybody who talks shit about Danhausen is crazy when it comes to the marketing machine. And I promise you, that's why WWE signed him. It's because of the marketing behind him. He's consistently one of the most, he's the number one merch seller, I'm pretty sure, as of right now, or at least in the top. And he's been around 3 weeks? 3 fucking weeks?
Yeah, and that first week was
one of the worst debuts of all time. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not even the first day. Day one. And because it was the wrong debut.
Yep.
And now everything's been right going forward. You are cursed.
But it took him 6 days or 7 days to reverse the curse.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
You know, people loved him after the first time they saw him. Then they liked him even more with The Miz.
Yes.
That got rave reviews.
Yes.
And then he's messed around with a few other people since then. And I think going forward, maybe he's got something to do with The Miz, right? Looks like they're both going to maybe host a night of WrestleMania, is a rumor I've been seeing.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt if it happened. I mean, look.
And hold on. I don't ever want to see Danhausen wrestle except maybe one match a year. I could go my whole, and not that I'm saying that I think he's a terrible wrestler. I don't know if I've ever seen a match of his. I just know that to be entertained by Danhausen, I don't need to see him wrestle. He can be his character, and then you build to it, and then that one show a year.
But again, I don't know why this always has to be spelled out for people. You can like what you like. If you like wrestling for the wrestling, and like that's your favorite part of it, and you don't particularly care about character work or storyline, great, cool. That's your flavor of wrestling. But over the last few decades, I think that we've learned, especially, from the masses, the average fan, the casual fan, in order to tune into wrestling consistently, they don't come back for the matches. Now, I will say there are a lot of casual fans that got out of wrestling that say there is too much talking now. That is a thing that I've heard for 25 years. I stopped wrestling when it became more talking. But also, those same people, they were drawn by the shorter interviews that would occur while the jobber match was occurring on Superstars. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like they didn't appreciate the character work. Just the 20-minute starting segments of the show became too much for some casual fans. The point is, if you don't have a character or something for people to believe in or something that resonates with them, you have nothing. So take the time to invest in yourself, your character, to be different. And when you're on the indies, merch. And I can't even remember now why I went down this rabbit hole of people, young people not.
That guy threw a belt in your face and you're okay with it.
No, that's not the point. The point is, like, I still, 20 years in, Brett, the promoter, has got me a hotel plenty of times, so I don't have to go home. I have that luxury if I would like it. It's like that for a lot of places. When I go out to Washington, there are some people that I'm friends with as promoters where I ask for a hotel, I want my own thing. But then there's also people like J.D. Mason out there who always brings me in for his wrestling association, Northwest Pro. And he's my bud. I know that I'm going to save him $100 a night on a hotel, so I sleep on his couch. Because not only is that cool because I can get along with this guy and I like spending time with him, that's good business. Yeah. I want to maximize my time there. I get to hang out with someone who's cool. I save the promoter money. Therefore, my fee is more justifiable because I'm being paid to wrestle. I'm being flown in. If I could save this guy $100, $200 on a hotel, I would like to do that. You know what I mean? Like, again, you have to think smarter. Treat wrestling like a business. And sometimes take accountability, young guys. Maybe you are the problem that you're not getting further. Maybe your attitude is an issue. There are so many fucking kids like this where it's like, I went into like this old man rambling with one of the older guys up at Top Tier this weekend, and just blend in this conversation. But that's not the subject of this show. The subject of the show is
Top Tier. What is that? A golf thing?
Top Tier Wrestling. Don't disrespect Top Tier.
No. There's a golf place that just opened around here. You go up on like a third floor deck, and you hit golf balls off of it. It's called Top. I think it's called
Top Golf. It's called Top Golf.
Yeah, Top Tier Golf.
Top Golf. Point is, we're talking about some of the more veteran wrestlers in the business who own a wrestling promotion where, unfortunately, a referee had a seizure, and the people in charge and behind the scenes probably should have, known better what to do as the incident was occurring. But they didn't. And we are going to elaborate all about that. When we come back, we're going to talk about the OVW Dallas the Ref incident here on Iron on Wrestling. Hey.
Yes. Did you ever watch that match?
What match?
The match between El Grande Americano and El Grande Americano Originale?
Well, it happened this past Monday on Raw.
You know what would have made it better? If they were each on a cloud. Know anybody who could design me a flag?
Why does it just have to be a flag?
It doesn't have to be, but that's my preference.
You want the two El Grande Americanos on a flag?
Oh, they're on clouds on a flag.
Well, I feel like Juan Ortiz could do that, like, as a private design. He can't put that out to the public because it's a WWE.
I'm the only one that needs it.
Trademark. So
yeah.
But yeah, Juan Ortiz and Of the Dead Designs can bring any piece of artwork that you would like to life. Really, I mean, you give him something, he could do it. If it's just something for yourself or a friend or a loved one that you want to gift them, or a logo for your big or small business, Juan Ortiz and Of the Dead Designs can make it happen, Cap'n, because they've been doing this for 20 years. They've been doing so many incredible designs that you may have seen in Hot Topic or perhaps on your television, perhaps on an action figure. He's worked with some of the biggest stars in professional wrestling, whether it be WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, and beyond. So do yourself a favor. Get yourself a high-quality design team with Juan Ortiz and Of the Dead Designs, and save $20 on your first design just by mentioning Iron On Wrestling in the DM. So hit him up. Hit him up right now. Find him at Of the Dead Designs on Instagram, facebook.com/ofthedeaddesigns, or go to his website, ofthedead.weebly.com, because Of the Dead Designs are bringing artwork to life. And we're back here on the show, and we are going to dive into the conversation about the OVW incident. So, this past Thursday, that would have been, what's the dates here? The year is already flying by.
It was the day after Wednesday.
Thursday, March 12th. I want to get the exact date, dumbass. And OVW had, like, I guess, a live stream that was happening because it was online for a little bit, and that's how a lot of people saw this initially, because it was out in the public very quickly. It was a multi-man match or a tag match. That doesn't really matter as much as the fact that where the spot begins in whatever type of match this was, the referee by the name of Dallas Edwards, who was officiating the match, a younger kid, I think he's in his early 20s, he ends up taking what looks to be, and I'm sure you've seen the clip by now, a phenomenal forearm that ends up turning out to be more of a cross body, and boy did this dude crack Dallas. And when he hit him, a lot of his weight landed onto him, and his head hit the mat for sure. And instantly, when you watch the video, and I caution you to watch the video, it's disturbing for sure. He instantly tenses up, and he gets into the posturing position, and his arm is up in the air. And pretty quickly after it happens, the kid that does it looks down over his body and realizes, this doesn't look good. I think he has enough sense to realize he might be out, but the guy comes over to him and tries to run a spot, and I believe that guy ends up being the guy that is probably the most egregious offender in the match. I believe it's this bald guy, Tony Evans. They start running a spot where he throws him back for a flip, and he lands on his feet, and they do the pallayed kick or whatever, and while this is happening, dude is seizing. It's very visibly bad now.
He's convulsing.
Yeah, and his arm is stiff and up in the air. It looks like my arm with cerebral palsy, and it's up in the air. And other guys come in, they're running spots, while this dude is pretty much in the center of the ring, which already should be a sign that there's an issue. And commentary's not really addressing it until maybe 25 or 30 seconds into the incident, where one of the girls on commentary goes, "Someone check on Dallas." And it's said in such a way to where it's like, I think she realizes that what she is seeing is bad. One of the male commentators, I don't know if it was the leader, whoever says something to the effect of, Dallas not having a very good day here. And the spot continues to run. And the video up to this point is already disturbing, but it becomes disgusting at the point where this individual by the name of Tony Evans, he ends up rolling a visibly convulsing Dallas, rolls him over, looks away from him, and like a horse kicking dirt, just kind of kicks him. Just kicks him to roll him over and out of the way. And you, because he's so stiff, you could tell that he had to apply some force to this kick because he needed to get him out of the center of the ring so he could finish his pro wrestling spot and back fist the guy, which it wasn't even a good-looking back fist, by the way. And pretty soon after that, and at this point, we're about 55 seconds, 1 minute into Dallas convulsing and seizing on the mat, to where the camera pans off of him. Someone comes in the ring. Eventually, the commentators realize fully, this is not an act. I think if you watch the footage, you could tell that the fans know that this is not an act. And I think they're actually watching Dallas based on what's happening. And they decided to end the stream, and that was the end of it from that point. So, when I saw this video, it was posted by a guy that has done incredible photography work out in the LA area. I've worked with him before for Hood Slam and All Pro Wrestling out there and stuff. And so I saw it on his page, and then I saw it getting shared all over. I think that's the link I sent to you initially from that photographer. Aaron, what was going through your mind as you're watching this clip for the first time?
Well, at first, when the ref was down, I thought, he's in the middle of the ring, but at least it looks like they're avoiding hitting him. They're still able to get their stuff in, but he's not. And then I saw the C's start to happen, the convulsions start. And I'm like, oh, man, is this going to be one of them instances where nobody knows what to do or what to look for or disregards it? And it was exactly everything I had hoped it wouldn't be. And then it got worse.
Yeah. Yeah. When you saw the rollover and kick.
Yeah.
Tell me how you felt.
That I think it was disappointing, and it angered me. Like, we're talking about human beings here.
Sure. Well, thankfully, the owner of Al Snow, the next day, March 13th, 10:17 a.m., immediately put out a statement, and he tweeted out, I told the Waffle House waitress that there was a fly on my waffle. She said, oh, I forgot that one when I took off the other three. That was his post to Twitter the next day after the live stream of his referee having a seizure, and then soon after being admitted to the hospital and being informed that he had bleeding on the brain.
Yeah, so, you know what? When I saw him have the seizure, I had wondered, is he prone to seizures? But then I found out that I believe he got a CAT scan. Is that right? A CT scan?
I believe so, yeah.
And I think they did that probably because he had not had seizures previously.
Oh, well, I don't know if this is familiar. Bleeding on the brain, seizure, not known to have seizures. It's almost like he had like a traumatic brain injury from that bump.
Yeah.
You know anybody that's ever had anything like that happen?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So
it happened to you.
It did. So
a couple times, right?
Well, the brain bleed at least once. But so Al Snow puts out this tone deaf, dumb as fuck tweet. And listen, this incident would be getting buried right now if it wasn't done under Al Snow's watch. But look, everybody has their own personal experiences with people. I can sit here and say that the people that I surround myself with, the people that I confide in, the people that I trust, that I get advice from, none of them from my generation care for Al Snow. In fact, I would argue that many of them do not even respect Al Snow. They will be cordial to him. Me personally, I've been cordial to Al Snow. There is at least one person that I have a lot of respect for, Matt Yaden, out of Colorado for Rocky Mountain Pro. Good friends with Al Snow. I love Matt. Great guy. He has a different experience with Al. But I'd say 90% of the people that I know do not like Al Snow. And if you're a diehard wrestling fan, you've watched an Al Snow shoot interview, and you also remember Al Snow from the late 90s Attitude Era, perhaps you watched him on Tough Enough, two very different Al Snows. Al Snow, in shoot interviews, who is the real Al Snow, is a dickhead. He is just an asshole. He, in no way, goes out of his way to help you. He will go out of his way to pull you aside and bury you, but then not correct you at all. There was something about... And by the way, I heard this in my early days before I first interacted with Al Snow from Colt Cabana, because Colt has notoriously had interactions with Al where he said very racist remarks regarding Jewish people, okay? I've personally seen Al make off-color remarks towards women, degrade people training in seminars, tearing them down and not telling them how to fix the things that he was telling was incorrect. I personally had to participate in a seminar with Al, running the class. Well, I didn't get to do much because it was Al, me, and D'Lo, and Al took over the whole thing. And afterwards, I had to have a conversation with everybody that paid money for that seminar and apologize for the way Al acted because it was unprofessional. It did nothing to help anybody. It was just downright mean. One of the people in that seminar was Abaddon. I think I've told this story on Patreon. But, it was before she was in AEW. She was very new. And he said a lot of fucked up stuff to where she was in tears. And I had to, pull her aside and, talk to her and make her feel better about the situation. And it's a lot. That's not the point of the story. But the point is, Al Snow is not the best person, okay? And Al Snow seems like the type that wouldn't take accountability for a situation like this. It wasn't until people were, basically going off on him on social media after he posted this instead of addressing the OVW incident that Al, the next day, with something that looks like it could have been easily written with AI from the OVW account, posted this. Did you see this, by the way, his actual statement?
I think I did.
Okay, so I'm going to read this and we're going to dissect it. Hello, everyone. This is Al Snow. I want to speak directly to our fans and the wrestling community regarding the incident involving referee Dallas Edwards at last week's event. Professional wrestling has always carried an inherent risk of injury for everyone who steps into the ring. On March 12th, during a live OVW television event, Dallas was involved in a planned moment of physical contact with a wrestler that resulted in him suffering a head injury. Traditionally, when an in-ring injury occurs, the referee is the central point of communication, assessment, and decision-making. In this unprecedented situation, the person who would normally make the assessment was one who needed assistance. The unforeseen breakdown in communication contributed to a delay in stopping the match and concluding the show. We are relieved to hear that Dallas is recovering and receiving the medical care he needs. Our thoughts are with him, and we're hoping for his continued improvement. First and foremost, let's stop there. Let's talk about what the referees are supposed to do when something goes wrong involving the wrestlers. Traditionally, over the years, the X has been a thing that the refs throw up when something goes awry. It became a signal to tell the back, especially in the days when earpieces weren't necessarily a thing, like, hey, someone's actually hurt here. We need to stop this. We need medical attention, whatever the case. In the age of earpieces, I think the X became a little less prevalent. Sometimes they would even use it as a work because people were figured out that the X meant that something actually went wrong. You have earpieces to communicate things. The ref's job is to make sure not only does the match go according to plan, he's sort of the third man. If you have a good ref, he's the type of guy who, with experience, can call spots for you, can help you save things. He can pass along spots when you need him to do that. The ref does a lot more than they're given credit for. A good ref. Yes, in situations, the ref is the authority in stopping the match. And, of course, in this unprecedented situation, the referee was the one that was hurt. However, Aaron, I don't know how much you know about OVW, or I've ever heard Al talk about OVW, but he had a show on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
I think it was called The Wrestlers.
Uh-huh.
And I never watched it, but I know that Al has taken a lot of pride in the fact that he's got pretty good production, and his refs have earpieces, and also there's a pretty in-depth gorilla position in the back.
Okay.
With monitors that people are watching, and I can't confirm that he was back there in this very moment. But do you know who's usually back there on the monitor directing traffic? Just out of curiosity.
The owner, the promoter.
Al Snow.
Ah.
Al Snow is usually back there watching the monitor. And Al, he's been around for probably like 40 years at this point, huh? In the wrestling business?
Yeah.
Got to be that. I mean, I might be rounding up a little bit here, but back in the days of like body slammers and stuff, before the WWF, he was like one of the hot indie guys as the territories were dying. Al is usually in the gorilla position at the monitors. And I would imagine that there had to be someone at the monitors that was questioning whether or not that Dallas thing was a sell. And if for more than 3 seconds, and maybe I'm being crass or being an asshole here, for more than 3 seconds, you thought that Dallas was selling, maybe you should just fucking burn your boots and quit the business. Maybe you don't deserve to be watching a monitor. Like, how is it possible that the commentator, at least by about 20 seconds in, the girl, realized that the Dallas situation was not good? Or at least, based on what I heard, it sounded like she realized that this dude was having a fucking seizure. How's that possible? But No one in the ring, no one watching the monitors can see what's happening and is trying to stop this. Answer that for me, Aaron.
There's no answer for that. I could not believe that they were allowing all this to go on. But also, I don't know. Nah. You have to spring into action when something like that's happening.
For sure.
Somebody has to do something, and you can't keep wrestling. I mean, it's probably been said to death by now, but yeah, you just can't keep going like that. That's dumb. It's inhumane. It's disgusting.
So to finish this Al Snow post, it continues, at OVW, the health and safety of our performers and officials has always been our top priority. We are proud of the standards we've maintained over the years, but we also recognize that there is always room to strengthen and improve. With that in mind, we are reviewing our existing procedures and updating several of our in-ring and ringside protocols to ensure we continue to meet the highest expectations for performer safety. These updates include enhanced communication systems. Stop right there for a second. They already have that. What else would they need other than earpieces? Just out of curiosity. Walkie-talkies? Like, I don't. What else do you need as far as quote-unquote enhanced communication systems? Additional referee training. Okay, let's stop there. What's the additional referee training for? Just out of curiosity.
Right.
We just talked about how this involved an unprecedented spot where the referee, who apparently is the only one that can decide whether a match can stop at any given time. No one in production, no one in the ring when they see a real issue occurring, no one outside the ring apparently. What would additional referee training do exactly?
Man, I don't even know. This sounds like a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, almost like it was written by AI. And expanded ringside response measures to help ensure that a situation like this is identified and addressed as quickly as possible. We appreciate the concern and passion from our fans, and we understand the importance of transparency during moments like this. We will continue to share updates when appropriate. We ask everyone to keep Dallas in your thoughts as he continues his recovery. Thank you. So that was the response from Al.
AI. Or from Al.
Yeah,
AL.
AI Snow.
Okay.
I want to read the post from this Tony Evans fuck who turned Dallas over and kicked him like a piece of garbage. Did you see this by chance?
No.
Okay. I want to start by expressing my support and love for Dallas Edwards and wishing him the best in his recovery. I've spoken with him. He's doing well, and he knows we're all thinking of him. During Thursday's match, there was a planned spot that resulted in an unexpected injury to Dallas. The match was 35-plus minutes with 12 men, 2 run-ins, and 2 referee bumps. Dallas' time came as planned, and everything seemed fine from my point of view. The next sequence had me falling next to Dallas and crawling away with my back turned to him, having my eyes focusing on the other wrestlers in the ring, though I knew where Dallas was. As we set up for the next thing, in my perpetuity, I noticed Dallas was still close to center as he didn't know what we were doing next. So I go to move him. Let me read that again. I noticed Dallas was still close to center as he didn't know what we were doing next. So I go to move him. Now, I can't imagine Dallas was talking. So how can you say that he didn't know what we were doing next? How was that communicated to you, Tony Evans, that he didn't know what was being done next? Just out of curiosity. Was it the fact that he was convulsing in front of you? That his body was as stiff as a board? I don't know. Just could be some ideas. Dallas and I have worked together frequently, and he will usually always go dead weight as I try to move him. I want to stop right there. I will say this. You know referee Tom Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Dunn has dealt directly with me when I've had seizures, when I've been concussed. He has been a part, much like you, of some of the most traumatizing and real incidents of my career. That being said, there have been times where I have dead weighted in front of Tom Dunn. I will oversell and not tell him what's happening. I have done that, admittedly. And then I'll get to the back and Tom will go, why do you got to mess with me like that, Greg? Because Tom Dunn's the nicest guy in the world. However, Dallas and I have worked together frequently, and he will usually always go dead weight as I try to move him. When I touched him was the first time I had laid eyes on him, specifically to that point for a brief second, and saw OVW officials running from the back, but Assumed it was for the chaos that had just happened outside the ring. I go to move him and scooted him with my foot as I usually would. Okay. No, you wouldn't. No, you fucking wouldn't. Are you kidding me right now? Like, this, like...
He did it like he was wiping his feet. Is that what he normally does?
I moved him and scooted him with my foot as I usually do. So, again, I have dead weighted people. In fact, there's something about experiencing real life situations, and this goes for a character stuff, like things that you know and understand. After having my seizures, after having concussions in matches, knowing and seeing back how I would react if it was real, it helped me in matches bring an element of realism, right? And that's the strange thing about wrestling. It's that crazy blur between reality and fiction. You can see where confusion in real life situations could come into play. But at no point have I ever had someone who thought I might be selling, that I was in a way for the spot, just fucking kick me to the side like that. That's never happened. Or they'll say something and you'll communicate back like, oh, sorry, fuck, I forgot the spot or whatever, or I don't know what we're doing. Usually that's the telltale sign that you don't know what's happening. The guy will say, hey, what's next? I don't know what we're doing. Sorry, I'm in the way. Oops. So he scooted him out of the way with his foot. Scooted him. I like that he used the term scooted him. Not that like I like kind of aggressively kicked him in annoyance, because that's what appeared to me. He continues, not realizing the severity of what was going on in that moment, as I was under the impression everything was going according to plan. I then did the next spot and turned to find many people in the ring huddled around Dallas, and stopped in my tracks, confused, scared, and worried for my friend. Had I known in that split-second moment when I moved him that something was wrong, I would have immediately stopped and tended to him as best I knew how. I wish I had known the severity of the situation. Nothing is more important in pro wrestling than the safety of, all capital letters, all involved. Dallas and I have spoken, and we are good. He understands there was no malicious intent, and per Dallas, he doesn't, quote, hold it to any of us personally, end quote, and his perspective is the one that matters most to me. I am as distraught about this situation as everybody. My heart hurts knowing what my friend has gone through. I look forward to being with him back in the OVW locker room soon and wish him a full and speedy recovery. Love you, Dally. Well, I would say, going back to Al's statement, perhaps instead of like maybe getting more referee training, perhaps maybe he should get some sort of PR people for his wrestlers when bad things like this happened, because I don't know who would have thought this was a good idea other than Tony Evans to put out this statement. In the area we live in, a lot of the internet will want you to apologize for things. And that same sector of the internet, once you apologize, they just want to shit on you for apologizing. Oh, you fucking piece of shit. You're only apologizing because everyone's telling you to apologize. Okay. This type of apology, though, I read zero accountability.
Right.
And the worst part of this is towards the end here, where he's saying, I talked to Dallas personally, and we're good. He understands there was no malicious intent. And per Dallas, and then he's quoting the kid. Motherfucker, I know Dallas put out his own post, and we'll read his post in a second. This is not what you should have put out. You are an idiot for putting this post out. You are a moron for not accepting responsibility for your actions. Whether you legitimately thought he was hurt or not, the fact that you just didn't assume responsibility for your role in the situation is disgusting, deplorable. You should be ashamed of yourself. And sure, I would hope that if I somehow did that to my friend, he would forgive me for that. He would understand that it wasn't malicious if that were the actual case. But the bottom line is, I don't think this is your place to make this statement. This was not the statement that you should be making. This just shows also the level of Bush League training that is still out there, even when you're being trained by someone like Al Snow who has supposed credibility. Because the basics are one thing. Wrestling psychology is another thing. But I think the best wrestling training you can get is from the ones that can treat you how to be a logical, rational thinking human being. To treat people with respect and dignity, how to conduct yourself in a locker room, how to be willing to walk up and seek advice from others, to take advice from others, to like take time to watch other matches, to study, to improve. But I don't think there's anything more important in pro wrestling than etiquette and respect. As much as I do not like being on shows with Al Snow, I'm not a dick to him. I'm not. Like, there's nothing, I've gone on record and said, one of the best things I ever learned was from someone I dislike in Al Snow, doing an OVW seminar back in like 2010 and him burying one of my promos. And me taking the time to realize that perhaps maybe there's something I can learn from someone that even I don't like. And that was, my promos were not genuine. I need to improve. He did not critique me the right way when it came to it, but I was able to see perhaps what he was trying to say. And because Al Snow has never taken the time to explain how to do something right after they bury them, I had to figure it out on my own. I had to have some self-awareness and some introspection. And I think that is the best type of training you can get from someone in the wrestling business. Like, how to just be a genuine human. And I think when it comes to the actual act of wrestling, Aaron, I think you could attest to this. You learn over time that you don't have to go over to get over. And I feel like in most situations, the more giving you are, the more over you get. You know, when you're not afraid to give someone else the shine or the spotlight. And there's a different time and a different place for certain circumstances. But I think in a real life scenario like this, you know, I think being able to put out a statement and take responsibility for what you fucked up on, I think that shows a sign of maturity and growth. And in a world where most people won't do it, again, I don't want to beat the word to death, but accountability. And the fact that not a lot of people in OVW are taking actual accountability and want to fall back on Dallas, who made a very nice statement about how he doesn't hold anybody responsible, but wants people to get additional training so that going forward, if someone is fucking stiffening up in the ring and having a goddamn seizure and nearly dying, they know how to address the situation right away. With common sense, stop the fucking match. I watched this video, and perhaps maybe there's a bit of me that is, what's the term I'm looking for here? I got a little bit of PTSD watching it, knowing that I've gone through this myself, and realizing that I was once that 20-some-year-old kid who had a concussion. No one knew. I could have went to sleep and died. I had a brain bleed. And then down the line, when I was in a situation with more logical thinking people, more rational thinking people, people that cared about me, people that weren't worried about the spot, the second that I landed on my head and it was clear that I was unconscious, Tom Dunn saw it, listened, saw that it sounded like I was snoring, immediately took his finger and swooped the gum out of my mouth, because I always chew gum when I wrestle, and they stopped the match. And they called the ambulance. And the show was over. Mind you, one person wanted to continue the show.
Yeah.
But
Johnny Gargano.
Johnny Gargano, showing that he could be a locker room leader way back in 2011, said, nope, the show's done. We're not going back out there. And all the locker room listened to him. I was not there to see that, but I was told that after the fact.
Well, yeah, I can verify.
And so, I guess that's my rambling about all this right now. It's disgusting. There's no excuse for what happened. People need to assume responsibility, and I hope that we never have to see anything like this in wrestling again. But unfortunately, it just seems like as the years progress, bullshit like this is getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't know. I'll let you get the floor here and say some stuff. Give me your thoughts.
I was there when you had, your second seizure in the ring? Is that?
I don't know if it was a seizure.
Okay.
But I was definitely out cold, and all I remember is like, it was like I was having a dream, and I was surrounded by you and Wally and Pedro, and I thought the paramedic was my dad.
Yeah.
And I thought I was having a dream. I do remember that.
And then that was a terrible situation, bad enough. And like I said, they wanted, one person wanted the show to continue, and he said those words: "The show must go on." And then somebody else said, "Not with me."
I mean, I'm sure. And again, this is 2011. This is coming from a delusional place of like, well, when Owen fell over the edge, they didn't stop the show then, and it's like, well, that was fucking stupid. And again, you go back and watch that show, because in the edited form, it's on Netflix or whatever, or wherever they have the streaming stuff now. Look in the eyes of those wrestlers that night. No one wanted to go to the ring that night.
Yeah.
After Owen tragically
the rest of the pay-per-view's dog shit.
You know what I mean? Like, fuck it. There's a title change on that show. No one gives a fuck. That show is horrible. Like, and that it was in no world after Owen died should that show have continued. And there's I don't know. There's a level of I don't even know the word. I can't find the proper word to verbalize it, but like OVW has still been conducting shows this week. The show goes on, right? No break at all. We're just continuing shows and going on with business. And I don't even know what OVW business actually looks like as far as like finances or anything like that. But it just feels wrong. Continue. You were there for my situation, and this kid has a brain bleed, and you know.
Yeah, that was bad enough. And then I was there for TJ Dynamite having a seizure in AIW. He was outside of the ring, and he began convulsing. I think he got maybe hit with a chair beforehand or something like that. And that's what started this seizure. He rolled out to the floor to get out of the way, and I think he knew he was going to start seizing.
Yeah.
And then he started, and then the only thing I knew to do was to put I put my foot under his head, and I took my tie off and pretend to be choking him so he quit bouncing his head off of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we would have done more, though. But, like, I think everybody was too young then. That's why I say there's like no excuse for this with Al Snow, who's been around forever.
So the thing is, like, I feel like in that moment at least you were there, because if that wasn't you at ringside, I don't know if another manager would have had the sense to make sure this guy was okay, even covertly like you did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name the person, but I got messages from someone who was messaging someone from OVW who was defending the incident, and these messages from this person was pretty laughable. Mm-hmm. But in general, one of his big flexes in this message was talking about, hey, I was out there and I saw what was happening, and you don't know how you would react in that moment. Yeah. You could say whatever you want, but you know how to react. And I, as someone who is CPR certified, I froze. I didn't know what to do. And I messaged the person that sent me these messages, and I go, this guy must have said this like 3 or 4 times. I said, being CPR certified ain't that big of a flex. I've been in CPR classes.
Yeah. You were certified for a few years.
I not that I can't do it. I figured it out. They would work with me to figure out how to do it properly with the limited use that I have with my right hand. I could fucking do it. I got through the classes. But all I'm saying is, if you take a CPR class, you got to fucking suck pretty bad to fail a CPR class. Because based on what I've seen, no one has ever failed a CPR class that I've been in. And if they have, what the fuck were they doing wrong?
Right,
so this guy going like, well, I'm CPR certified. Fuck off, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, so you paid and took the class.
Yeah, like, what does that even mean? Like, okay.
Because they're not going to fail you because you paid for it.
It's crazy that if you were anywhere in the area and you could not see this kid having a seizure, and no one was like flailing their hands like, yo, fucking stop. No one came out from Gorilla. Just dog shit. No excuse for fucking unprofessionalism like that. Fucking crazy. Hold
on. Now there's a third seizure I was a part of where that fan had a seizure.
Oh, yeah. Talk about that.
I was there for that. A fan had a seizure at a wrestling event that I was a part of. I was managing Soda Pop Johnson, and I just broke character. I was at the gimmick table visiting Biggins and Thorne from AIW at their merch table, and I walked over and was cool about it. Like, just, you give me your winter coat so I could put under his head. And then I told somebody else to call 911. I had all these people back up that were around us. I made sure I handled the situation. Because, fuck, man. Again, this guy bouncing his head off of the concrete, on the floor.
Yeah.
You die. So... Yeah. And then I kept time. I wanted to make sure I knew exactly how long this guy was having a seizure, and then I talked with him until he came out of it. So, and then he swung on me. But
well, sometimes that happens a lot with seizures, right? You don't know what's happening. You come out of it, right. and so I can't remember the exact incident from a couple years ago. We can go back to the one that jumps right out of my mind to where Paul Orndorff
Uh-huh.
did that match. I think it was like at Fall Brawl or something, 2000. He ended up pile driving. I think it was Sean O'Hare, maybe Mark Jindrak, and he ends up back bumping and hitting his head, and so he's unconscious in the middle of the ring, and he ends up paralyzing himself again, and they start running spots around him. Okay, this is on a WCW pay-per-view. Now, a couple years ago in AEW, something similar happened, because if you remember, we probably talked about it on the show. There was a discussion. I think they did an interview with like Jon Moxley to see his thoughts on it about like what do you do going forward. And while I do think that in some cases it is hard to tell when someone is selling and when someone is legit fucked up, I don't think there's any question in this video with Dallas that he's fucked up. But with the Jon Moxley situation that he was talking about, one of the things that he suggested was perhaps maybe even when there's a doctor watching the monitor, which I doubt that they had a doctor watching the monitor at OVW. I'd be shocked if they had a doctor. But they had Dr. Dipshit, Al Snow, at the monitor for sure. Moxley suggested that perhaps a wrestler, an experienced wrestler, should be watching the monitor with a doctor to determine if this guy is selling, should they call the match, whatever. Perhaps maybe that's something they should take. But also, you know, most of the big places have a doctor at ringside. I think that's something they should incorporate more often. It's unfortunate because most of the commissions for wrestling are at work.
Yeah.
But I do think that should be put into the budget for actual medical professionals to be on site, for one to at least be on ringside. I've done a lot of matches that have death matches over the years. Particularly when I've done matches that have death matches, I like to know that there's someone that's going to make sure we're okay after the fact. And there have been a couple times where I've been told that there's going to be medical staff, and then after my match, there wasn't.
Yeah.
So that is a frequent thing that happens. And again, look, it's pro wrestling. That's not an excuse, by the way, but it's pro wrestling. If you do this, you know to, what's the saying, believe half of what you hear and everything that you see. Shit happens like that sometimes, and you kind of get callous to it, but it doesn't make it right. I think doctors and medical staff should be factored into budgets. And look, I don't think we need a wrestler to make sure, hey, call this match for sure, doc. If a doctor seems to think, based on his medical experience, that this person might be hurt and they should stop the match, or at least should check on him, is it going to kill the momentum of the match if he's not actually hurt? Maybe a little bit. But I think it's safer for the guys going forward. And I think in a situation like the one with Dallas, perhaps maybe he would be in a better situation right now. And from what I understand, about 12 hours ago, he was released from the hospital, so he was okay. And I think there was some concern that the brain bleed was not getting any better. And that really resonated with me. Because, again, it made me think back to 2007. And it's one of those things where it's just a part of my story now. And I tell it. And I lived it. And I survived it. And even in that moment, whatever they were drugging me up with, it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of a headache in the days after. But, like, I don't know until, like, watching something like that happen in a wrestling ring and hearing that this kid has a brain bleed that I take the time to think, like, wow, I'm very fortunate. And Dallas, being the kid that he is, you know, people were asking to donate to him. He said, basically, you know, don't bother to donate to me. I'm in a situation where I take care of this, but he wants people to invest time and money into additional training to make sure that going forward something like this doesn't happen again. That shows the type of character that Dallas Edwards have, and I'm going to imagine that he probably is self-aware and has sought advice, insight, and more life knowledge and experience from other people in wrestling and people outside of wrestling. It seems like he has a grasp on reality, and I hope that, you know, he said he's going to take a break from wrestling for a little bit to get his life together. Very admirable. But I hope this isn't the end for Dallas Edwards, and if this is something that he loves and genuinely enjoys, he can come back and keep enjoying it and hopefully make it a source of income. And, yeah, what a story. A lot of people covered it this week. Now we're covering it. And, I mean, this was in TMZ, New York Post. Wow. A lot of people were talking about this story, and it's not because OVW's fucking hot. Yeah. I mean, it's not like because no one would be talking about this if a guy didn't sit in the ring for over a minute convulsing and having a fucking seizure. It's unfortunate that this is the type of publicity pro wrestling gets. And again, if you don't understand it, it just makes all of pro wrestlers look like fucking idiots.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, especially when you say I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, like
It makes you look like a fucking complete moron.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I gotta mention that Derek Direction was with me during that man's seizure, and I didn't want to leave him out of the story,
that's fair.
despite me leaving him out of the story. Only thinking of myself.
What are your thoughts on this OVW situation? Do you have any personal experience with Al Snow or OVW? Let us know. Send us some messages. Send us some comments. And
Yeah, hit that like button.
subscribe, subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the Patreon, best way to support the show. We're going to have at least one, maybe 2 bonus episodes this week for the video subscribers at the $5 and up level. I finally uploaded a vlog from my Disney cruise with the Garganos, a nice little fun video that I put together. Very happy.
Are you in a bikini?
I'm in shorts.
Yeah.
It's before my face was disfigured and my torso was disfigured from professional wrestling weapons.
Wow.
And which, by the way, I just want to
That's
point
your
out.
fault.
Hold on, I just want to point out. I also need people's opinions on the movie Weapons because Gargano texted me last night, and I think he wanted to make some sort of weapons joke. And he said, "Have you seen the movie Weapons?" And I said, "Yeah, it's not that good." And people seem to love this movie, and I watched it, and I wasn't blown away. Like it was, as the kids say, but I didn't see the hype with Weapons. So give me your thoughts on Weapons as well. Subscribe to the podcast on
Kids you
YouTube.
talk to?
Well, I haven't talked to some kids in a minute, but the YouTube is getting close to 10,000 subscribers, so help us out there. Patreon, we're over 100 Patreon members right now, so keep it coming. We appreciate the support. We have a free tier. Maybe we'll do a short free episode for you free subscribers. We appreciate you being there. I've been uploading some autobiography drafts over on Patreon as well. Patreon.com, $3 gets you in the door to all the audio going back to 2019. I can't believe we've been doing the show for this long. Videos at $5, $9 get you involved in the live chat. I might do that this weekend. I got some downtime. And, if you want the Howard Animal Steel quarterly package, that's a $29 tier. Go ahead and sign up. You're not going to be getting this month's, but I got some packages I'm going to send up before the end of the month, and you're going to have some cool stuff in there. I think you're going to like it. Make sure you follow us on social media at Iron and Wrestling. Follow me on social media. I'm at Gregory Iron on Twitter. Gregory_Iron on Instagram, Facebook.com/handicapped hero. If you want to book me for pro wrestling, motivational speaking, or seminars, go to my website, handicappedhero.com, and you can get my Cameo over there. It's linked over on the website. You can find my Pro Wrestling Tees store, prowrestlingtees.com/Gregory Iron for my tees, Aaron's tees, Iron on Wrestling tees. Buttload of stuff over there. Check it out. It's great. Aaron, what would you like to plug?
Oh, I'm at Fair to Air on X.
Why are you doing like a bird sound?
Because I fell asleep.
You fell asleep
Yeah.
listening to me talk?
Yeah.
It's very disrespectful. Very fucking disrespectful. Is it because you're like almost 50 years old?
I was feeling like I should maybe give you my finishing move,
What's your finishing move?
the goodnight kiss.
I thought it was the butt punch. Is it not the butt punch?
It all depends on who I'm working.
Is that the setup? The butt, you hit him with the butt punch, and then they sell around. On
Yeah.
They can't even. They're
to
trying to
get
lay
the
on their
good
butt
night
out of
the
instinct,
good-
but then they're like, "Oh no!" And then you just kind of like
goodbye
get on top
kiss.
of them and kiss them. And they tap out. All right,
That's
kiss goodbye.
No, we just did.
Bye.
All right, one more.
Bye.
You're still
Bye.
bleeding.
No, the stitches are fresh.